Hi, this is Lisa DeMonte from mylegal.com. We are here in Washington, D.C. at the Georgetown University Law Center for a 3-day conference on law firm evolution, brave new world, or business as usual. We're here this afternoon with Paul Smith, partner from Eversheds. Paul, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Paul, you were part of a panel earlier this morning on emerging trends in legal services. And it was really quite timely for you to be on that panel because, as I understand it, Eversheds just published a report entitled Law Firm of the 21st Century, The Client's Revolution. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the key elements and the key findings in that report?
Yeah, this is a revision of a report we did 2 years ago on the law firm of the 21st century and looking at all the changes in the legal market, because we've been very active with a number of major clients like DuPont and Tyco and FMC in implementing new models. So what we've been doing is regularly surveying general counsel and partners of major law firms to get their views on what's happening. And what was very significant about the latest report was the impact of the recession, because all of these changes were kind of there, but the recession has really accelerated them. And some 90% of general counsel now are saying they're under real pressure from their CFOs to reduce their outside legal spend and to get better value for money. And what was interesting from the survey is that the vast majority of in-house lawyers and law firm partners now realise that the hourly rate has gone, and it's about value billing, it's about delivering value to the client. And I think we also observe the rise in power of the general counsel and the fact that they are bringing a lot more of the work in-house and sending less to external law firms. So it covers a lot of issues, but I think what it does show is that there is a real realignment of the legal profession, the structure of law firms and the pecking order. So it's, as you say, it's timely, but it shows at a time of great change.
It's very unsettling, I think, for many law firms, particularly the U.S. law firms. And I think what we're hearing here at the conference is that the U.K. seems to be a little bit ahead of the game, certainly as compared to the U.S. law firms in terms of embracing alternative fee arrangements. And during your session earlier today, you made some reference to what happens in Sweden with the Swedish law firms. Share with us that information. I was quite intrigued by it.
Yes, well, we now have a new Swedish office in Copenhagen. So last week I was invited to go to Copenhagen to speak to my new partners and some of their general counsel clients. So I was telling them all about DuPont and Tyco and the changes in the market and the threat to the hourly rate. And someone politely raised their hand and said, we don't have the hourly rate in Sweden, and we never have the hourly rate. We bill by reference to the value to the client. And I said, and is everybody happy with that? And the clients and the partners all nodded, and it seemed a very sort of civilized way of dealing with it. Everybody understood what value meant. And when I started out as a lawyer, you billed by reference to the weight and complexity of the matter, the importance of the matter to the client, in other words, value. Then we went to the hourly rate, and now we've gone back to value.
Shifted back.
Yeah, so we went through all this angst, and the Swedes just carried on regardless in perfect harmony. So
imagine that, clients and law firms being equally happy.
Yeah, so lesson one in life, don't run this conference in Sweden. So.
Paul, sort of a segue into that, Eversheds has what you term as their global account management system, and I think the folks at Tyco have their smarter model. Tell us a little bit about both of those.
Yeah, well, I worked with Tyco for 5 years when, as you know, Tyco went through its bad days and they brought in a new general counsel. And he reorganized the way that they dealt with US law firms. He came to me and said, I need your help in how we would restructure our legal needs in Europe, Middle East and Africa. He said, you can work as a free consultant, and if we like the ideas, then we might ultimately hire Eversheds. So I worked along with that process. We went through a competitive tender. There were 12 firms, then 6, then 2, then 1. And we were ultimately appointed to replace 285 other firms in Europe, Middle East and Africa. and all the work came to us, and now we're working for Tyco in 65 countries, doing pretty much all of their work. And
Congratulations, that's amazing.
And all the files transferred in 1 week. So I spent the first week receiving calls from managing partners of the dispossessed firms saying, you've just taken away 30% of my revenue. What do you intend to do about it? To which I said, I don't really think it's my problem. But having got the arrangement in place, which was all about reducing cost and better compliance, which was very, very important to Tyco, we then had the nightmare of actually managing work across 65 countries to the same service levels. And it's well documented that we had the honeymoon period and then it all went wrong. And so what we did was invest a lot of time and money in a global account management system, which is a piece of software and an intranet system whereby all the lawyers working on Tyco matters have to input the data, they have to get approval from the in-house lawyer to do the work, they have to provide a budget and a strategy. And as you would appreciate, in some countries that's not the way they practice law. So I think a lot of the objections were cultural. But eventually we all got into line, and the contract's just been renewed for another 2 years.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I know it was a lot of effort for sure. So this global account management system, is it a proprietary software application that Eversheds developed?
It is, and people keep wanting to buy it from us.
But no, that's not going to happen.
No, so it works very well, and other clients are using it in, I mean, the Tyco Smarter model, which is their way of describing it within Tyco, and the ER or the external resources, which are the firm. But what Tyco did was to do a survey of resources they had in-house and what they needed externally. So that's how they came up with the Smarter model. But other clients have said, well, that's not for us, we're not Tyco. So Boeing, for example, uses it for corporate matters, and FMC, Jeff Carr, is using it for his international needs. So it's been very successful, and it's been applied to other clients as well now.
Excellent. And as part of that system, I guess one of the benefits, of course, of the many benefits, is the ability to measure the success of the value that Eversheds is bringing to Tyco and other clients. So I'm sure that that's something that they're receiving well, as we've discussed in some of the earlier seminars today. Clients are asking for accountability and demonstration of true measurements of success. So how are you receiving that information from the clients?
When every matter is set up within the firm, be it in Norway, be it in France, be it in the UK, the information goes in a set way. And once we collect all that information centrally, we can then plot each particular matter. So at the end of the case, we can break down the spend by business unit, by country, by whichever way you want to provide the metric. The key metrics are showing that we're driving down the cost. But you get to a stage where you know so much information that what we've developed is what's called heat mapping. So we're actually looking at the complexity and risk factors in each jurisdiction, and then looking at how much we spend in that particular country compared to other countries, and then you can start to allocate the resource to where you actually need it. And I think that's been a revolutionary approach. And what we actually discovered, in some countries the spend was disproportionately high, and when we analysed it, it was because a handful of managers in a particular country were making the same mistakes over and over. Okay. So we said, if you stop making those mistakes. So we've actually driven Tyco's litigation docket down by 50%.
I bet they're very happy.
They are. Well, they did renew the contract. So,
excellent.
But you know, a lot of hard work, and Trevor Four, the European General Counsel, is completely focused on numbers, metrics, and through his persistence, it really did drive the firm on 5 to 10 years in its development.
Fabulous. Paul, we've run out of time.
Okay.
I can't thank you enough for
No,
taking the time. I know this has been a busy conference, and everybody is trying to stay within the conference and gather all that information, so we sincerely appreciate your taking the time to chat with us.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Congratulations again, and best wishes in the future.